Yo, yo. Okay, here we go again. Here we go. Alright, lame ass. Continuing on here, we gonna kind of start up episode 13, my Cult of the Fish God, quote unquote, adventure. Um, at the moment, I'm having fun, but I think I kind of want to switch gears a little bit and get away from kind of the more open-ended elements of the hex crawl here, just to kind of get back to being more familiar with old school D&D here. So I'm actually going to kind of wrap up my whole Cult of the Fish God storyline here for now. This is good because in last session, we actually kind of hit this point where we'd shifted over to the kuo-toa lair, realized that they're gonna try to destroy Port Cirric. So it actually kind of makes sense to that we can probably close this out with an element of a larger scale battle at the port town. We're down to 2-player characters anyway. I have been spending some time rolling up new characters here. We got a whole bunch of future PCs, and I'm not going to spend any more time during play rolling up characters. I'm just going to create a shitload of characters here and go from there. In fact, I've got the next 2 PCs. You can see they've already got artwork here for them. Those are going to be the next 2 PCs in the party, but what I'm going to actually do here is wrap up our time in Port Cirric today, and next time I'm going to shift things. And we're going to I'm going to start playing through some of the classic modules. So I bought this off of DM's Guild some time ago. Keep on the Borderlands, which I've only played a little bit of. When I was a kid, I mean, as kids are, especially, kind of is typical for kids, like, you don't have a lot of money. What you're seeing on the screen there is pretty much the extent of my collection of D&D BECMI stuff, right? The 5 boxes, the 5 box sets, which the boxes are long gone. The dice that were included, which are still within my collection. Queen's Harvest came with my basic set box. Isle of Dread came with the expert set box. And I shouldn't say mine because I bought the basic set. My brother bought expert. I think he bought Companion. I bought Companion and then Master, and then he bought Immortal, something like that. Like, we bought them together. They were ours. Now they're mine. I don't care. Sorry, Sean, they're mine. So anyway, Queen's Harvest came with our basic set. We played through that. Isle of Dread came with the expert set. I'm pretty sure we played through it, but I don't really remember it. I only bought 2 other modules outside of that. Drums on Fire Mountain, which we played through a couple times, and that is, nostalgia-wise, probably my favorite adventure I ever played back in the day. That includes stuff that I had for D&D and AD&D, because I had more adventure stuff for AD&D 2nd edition, and then later into 3rd edition. I had adventures for Palladium Fantasy and TMNT and other Strangeness and Rifts and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I had a lot of different games back in the day, most of which I got rid of several years ago. My collection is much smaller. So Isle of Dread, and then the only other one I bought was City of the Gods, which we never really played City of the Gods. I think we did kind of a little bit of it. Mostly with City of the Gods, I wasn't really thrilled with the addition of the science fiction element to D&D, the alien spaceship kind of crashing. Spoiler alert, sorry. I think it's pretty clear on the cover, and in the description is still kind of what it's about. Instead, I just took the map, because there was a map of Blackmoor that we just used for a lot of exploring, and we created... I didn't have any information on the world of Blackmoor, so we just kind of created stuff as we went along. We made things up. Which to me was always part of the fun. It was always part of the fun of D&D and other role-playing games, is you made things up on the fly with your friends. It was probably a little it's probably a little more off the wall when I was a kid, whereas since the last 20 years of gaming, I've probably tried to be at least the last 20 years of gaming, I've probably tried to be a little more complete and story driven, sometimes even character driven, like character story driven. Decide whether that's side plots or backgrounds, or like Edge of the Empire, where they have their own motivations and obligations and that kind of thing. Like that has probably been my focus. I like characters that create a sense of story. I suppose that's what's attracted me a little bit to solo RPGs as well, because it's really hard to do in a group dynamic. Unless you really have a group that's into it, because you can kind of get the group together, and you need to find a way to pull all the characters together, and they just accept it, right? That's part of the buy-in. But I've always kind of liked I like group dynamics, and the characters usually won't do anything, against each other too often. Sometimes there'll be a little bit of bickering, which I kind of like in-game bickering. It's funny. And it's entertaining, and it tells kind of a story of the characters. But you don't have too much interplay where the characters will be at odds necessarily. And they don't have to be enemies, or they could even be friendly rivals or something. But you don't get a lot of that in most group play, I find. So in solo play, that gives me the ability to explore the character dynamics a little bit more, and a little bit differently too, because it's just me. Anyway, we're going to dive into this here in a second, but I need to quickly pause. I just kind of wanted to, I don't know, I think I kind of partly use these videos to talk my way through solo RPGing and talk about kind of, about the old days of RPGs and my own experience in RPGs, because, I don't know, to me it's interesting. Others may not find it so, but, sometimes I like to kind of hear what other people have done in their time playing RPGs. It can help you kind of get more creative with your own stuff, or be like, I never thought about doing that. I think that's a cool idea. I'm going to kind of try that. So anyway, I am going to pause for a moment, and then we're going to dive into what's going to be the last chapter of Cult of the Fish God. Okay, back to our Cult of the Fish God. So I'm going to kind of slip through here. I'll show you kind of also just before we kind of really get going. I've been setting up, preparing for Keep on the Borderlands. So if we go back to our map now, we've gone like, I think it's about 150 kilometers. Yeah, about 100 kilometers straight. Anyway, forget roads. Inland, and that's where we're going to set up Keep on the Borderlands. I've kind of flagged a lot of this stuff myself here, kind of created the terrain kind of around it. This is essentially what we're thinking of as the Keep on the Borderlands area, and it's pretty close, I think, to kind of how it's set up. So I've named it Fenris Keep. That's going to kind of be the borderland for this empire, this kingdom, this whatever. And beyond to the east will be whatever. The monsters of the orcs and the goblin hordes and the whatever, right? But for now, we're going to deal with all this stuff here. We're going to just kind of shift back for a second. All right. We shift into that evening, I believe. I need to test the scene. Do I want to... Actually, I'm not going to test the scene because I do need this to go a certain way. We need the next scene to actually be that evening when the town alarm goes off. Leocadia and Rowan are relaxing in the inn, having a meal when the town alarm goes off, and they quickly rush to, they look up at Anna, who's kind of there in the midst of pouring a pint, and she goes, the fish people again. Leocadia kind of rolls her eyes. She's like, all right, I guess we should have something to do with this. And she goes, "Suit up." And he looks at himself. He's like, I am suited up. Because, of course, you know, he's a magic user. Leocadia runs upstairs, hurries upstairs. Rowan kind of following, just making sure he's got everything. And she spends the next 10 minutes kind of gearing up, getting ready to go out. Meanwhile, the town alarm is going off. The alarm bells are still ringing. Someone's still clang 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 as they rush into the streets. It's dark out. There's the street is lit with torches and lanterns, and off in the distance they can hear fighting, and they see. Oh, here we go. Let's let the fates decide a little bit. Are the docks on fire? Because that almost seems like something that might happen here. So I'm going to call it a 50-50. We are on a chaos factor of 4. The docks are not on fire. Okay. However, they hear fighting from the docks. They head towards the docks. Actually, let's again. Port Cirric. They are not actually far from the docks, right? So if we grab Port Cirric, the rowboat could actually probably come out. I'm sure that has disappeared by now. This is the Lone Rose Inn. The fighting will be down here somewhere, you know, because the fish people, the kuo-toa, always kind of come up from the south, along that coast, kind of south to the west there, right? They hurry through the streets, but are there already fish people invading the town? I'm saying this is likely. They've already kind of moved out of the... Sorry, they've already probably moved out of the docks themselves. So let's say likely. Yes. As they head toward the southern docks, they see fish people in the street. Are they fighting guards? I'm going to say this is very likely. Chaos factor of 4 again. We got a 65% chance. They are not. By guards yet. How many are there? So, if we go to our... We've been dealing with this. You'll see I also created some for Fender's Keep here. Monster stat blocks. We got this going on. So we know there are 1 to 4 appearing. 1! They see 1! They only see 1 fish person creeping through the street. No problem. Does the fish person see them? I'm going to say that is nearly certain. They're heading towards them. They have weapons drawn. Or at least Leocadia does. She's got her bow drawn. There's a 75% chance. He sees them. Yeah. They, I'm just going to start calling them properly here. Okay, so let's, do we have a battle map we can quickly make use of? Let's just make use of this one here. We'll scrap this. We don't need that, but I'm just going to use the Leocadia and Rowan next to them, and we need a monster here. We need a single kuo-toa. Seems about right. Rowan is probably following behind because that's what he'll do. The kuo-toa needs some hit points here. It's 1 hit die for the kuo-toa. He's going to have a whopping 2 hit points. Sorry, just realized I gotta hit enter on that. 2 hit points, and he has a AC of 7 due to natural armor here. Okay, so we're gonna come back kind of to our typical stuff here. So, do we have any surprise going on here? I'm saying that either or could definitely be surprised enough to that the other's going to get the drop on him. So we'll roll. So 1 to 2 surprised. Are Leocadia and Rowan surprised? No. And is the kuo-toa surprised? Aw, hell yeah. Yeah, he is. Kuo-toa is surprised. Caught flat-footed. Initiative doesn't matter for the first round. There's no sit with her, so we got movement. Leocadia's not going to worry about it. She can fire an arrow pretty far. Rowan is not going to be doing anything at the moment unless he gets a chance to cast a spell, and then actually, we need to bring up Rowan because this is a couple of days later or whatever. Rowan's spells, we're back to good. He does have 1 spell, and he prepares sleep as usual. He's got no reason to think of magic missile. Sleep is incredibly overpowered anyway in D&D. At least back then, it could pretty much put an end to a battle that might be losable. So anyway, Leocadia, since we start with our missile movement, they're not going to move missile fire. Leocadia is going to, she reaches over her shoulder, pulls an arrow, knocks it quickly, brings it up, and sights down the arrow towards the fish person and fires. 9 is going to miss because she's only going to hit AC 10. That's unfortunate. However, that gives way for Rowan instead to do what he's going to do. So when the missile fires over the kuo-toa's shoulder, just narrowly missing it. Actually, I do need to deal with inventory. She's lost another arrow. In later editions, or even later, often enough, you kind of deal with, can I collect a certain number of arrows? And I don't think there's ever been any real official rules necessarily. I could be wrong about that. Actually, in D&D 3rd edition, there might have been rules for collecting arrows and how many you might collect afterwards. Old school edition, you fired it kind of. I guess it was kind of like spellbooks. You fired, you forgot about it. It was done. So, fires, doesn't hit. We'll go towards our spellcaster, who Leocadia kind of curses under her breath, and he goes, "It's okay. I think I got it." And he is going to cast Sleep on this sucker. Yeah. So it affects 2 to 16 hit dice worth of creatures within a 40-foot square area. It doesn't really matter. I do not need to make a roll because this dude is very simply going to fall asleep because he is 1 hit dice worth of creature. And Leocadia slips up ahead and cuts his throat. Just so we are keeping track. She does a quick check of the kuo-toa, looking around all the while. Not bothering with his spear or anything. Actually, it would take some time to do so. So our kuo-toa is worth a whopping 5 XP. So I'm just going to kind of make a note. They move on. They move. They don't search the body and move ahead toward the docks. As they approach the docks, there is a lot of fighting going on. The town guard are engaged as they kind of near, two kuo-toa, kind of, flank a town guard and, and both jab their spears into his side. Leocadia and Rowan. Now, Rowan has just cast a spell, his only spell. He has nothing left. And Rowan and Leocadia look around, and Rowan kind of gets, the blood kind of runs out of his face, and he gets this pale-faced look. By the gods! And she's like, yeah, exactly. She looks around, there's dozens of kuo-toa flooding the town, coming out of the water, and it seems like a never-ending stop, and she goes, I think it's time we made our exit. What? What do you mean? We're getting out of here. We're getting out of here alive, Rowan. But the people, do you have anything else that you can do? You're barely out of your apprenticeship. Do you have another spell? Can you put all them to sleep? No, but can't we do something? Do you want to fight all those fish people with your dagger? And he looks down at his belt. No, I really don't. Exactly. We're getting out of here. With that in mind, I'll just kind of kill this here. They slip back. Rowan follows Leocadia. They slip back towards the... I have a dog about to interrupt me here. Okay, so Leocadia kind of slips back through the streets, getting away from the sounds of all the fighting, and she's going, we're going to live. We're not fighting that. Neither of us are stand-up fighters. We're getting out of here. We have to save ourselves. Okay. Rowan, just kind of follows. He's terrified at the moment, what's going on. Behind them, they can start to see that the docks are now on fire. All right. Meanwhile, everybody in the town is kind of busy, somewhat preoccupied by the fight, including Anna, the bartender, I think. Or the owner of the Lone Rose Inn. So as they slip in the front doors, there may be the odd person kind of hiding out in here, but most people are, I think, barring up their own homes or grabbing weapons to fight, or potentially fleeing the town. I think that's true. I think Leocadia and Rowan gather their belongings. They gather their belongings. Is Anna anywhere in the Lone Rose Inn? I'm thinking I think we're just going to call it 50-50. No, she's not. Is anybody in the inn? I'm thinking it's likely somebody's in the inn. Yes, there are. So, there are a couple of drunk patrons, hiding behind the bar. So that kind of, I was thinking Anna's a thief. Leocadia's a thief. This would be a good time to lift a few coins off the Lone Rose Inn. She is neutral aligned, so and she doesn't have the same kind of connection to the Lone Rose Inn and Anna that two of our dead PCs, or three of our dead PCs had. So yeah, I could absolutely see her lifting a few coins. But with people behind the bar, she's not going to get a chance to do so. Leo, Katie, and Rowan gather whatever is left of their belongings, making sure not to leave anything behind. And in the midst of the battle, they slip out of Port Cirric and head out onto the road to the east. Alright. Cool. That's how we're going to end things, because next time, I mean, again, I kind of pushed it to this because next time we're going to be switching gears a little bit. So, for scene number 15, I think we're going to be bringing that chaos factor up. I think that makes some sense here. Scene 15 will be arrival at Fenris Keep, which we're actually going to deal with next time, but I'm going to set things up here. So, next time, what's going to happen we're going to just pick up a few months later, I think. I think that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. And we're going to end up with 2 new party members. If I can get them to move in here. Our new party members are going to be Feistus, who's a first level fighter. And they've also picked up Eddard, a first level cleric. Okay. That's going to be our party starting next time. I don't know how well Mythic is going to work in terms of our scenes and Chaos Factor and such like that for a pre-published adventure, but we'll try to we'll give it a shot, see what happens. However, at the end here, we're essentially kind of giving each party member is going to really just be receiving almost nothing here. So if we kind of just bring these characters up quickly, go on to the main. I'm simply going to add 2 XP per current character here. Oops, 141. There we go. We're going to also kind of, since we're going to be picking up sometime later, we're going to just kind of deal with Rowan's spell slots here. And to close this out, the threads list and the characters list, I think we're going to be making a big change to here. We keep this. The kuo-toa layer no longer matters. Gone. Pop that up. The kuo-toa tribe trying to destroy burn Port Cirric. They may have succeeded. Characters list is pretty much going to be taken out for now, aside from Ernesto. Everything else just disappears off the characters list because they're not going to have anything to do with Keep on the Borderland. And that's kind of where things are going to be, I think, for now. It's going to be a short session here. Pick this up next time, probably tomorrow. And continue, and we'll start with Keep on the Borderlands, which I'm kind of looking forward to. We're basically going to kind of start the way the adventure begins itself, and that is arriving at the Keep. They've probably heard some rumors. I've got some really cool maps that I grabbed online to make this all work. I don't think I have a map of the Keep that I can use yet, so I need to see if I can find one. Or make one myself as we go along, or just scan one in here, because I should have one somewhere within this booklet. So, anyway, that's where things are going to be going for now. That's it. That was really goofy and lame as well. But that's what I am, goofy and lame. If you are watching, thank you. Have a good one. Take it easy.